So Katie, tell us about any physical differences in your life, in your body that you have noticed after the session.
Yep. So normally I will have like pretty bad PMS to the point of having, I think they call it like PMDD, which is PMS, but like way worse. And I'll
Mhm.
be clumsy. I bump into stuff. It's usually just like a really, really rough time. And right now, since I've noticed, it's been a couple days since our session, and I noticed that I mean, I haven't been clumsy. I haven't bumped into anything. And I did work on my homework where I replaced it with carefree, loving relationships, useful ideas, meaningful moments, security, and then like a youthful mind and body. I have been thinking about that, but what I'd mentioned before about feeling like my to-do list is done, I can tell that some of the sort of chaotic energy that was coming with my PMS normally is just that like anxiety that makes you not super aware of your surroundings and, for whatever reason is worse before my period. I haven't had that this month, and I felt, everything was done, even though not everything was done. Just feels like everything is done and there's no rush. So I don't need to bump into anything. And I think my dogs appreciate it because they're not super reactive, but like if I'm in the kitchen and I drop something, they run away fast. And I'm always like, yeah, that's good. You should run out of the way because I might drop something. But they haven't, been reactive. And for the first time the first time I can remember, at least in a long time, I can hear my body's signals, like my hunger signals, and even feeling tired. Um, like I never notice if I feel tired. I'll only realize it'll be 11 o'clock at night and I'll be like, wow, I was wired all day. I won't even hear that at some point my energy was low. And, maybe for good reason too, just hormonal changes or not enough sleep or something. I would never even notice that I was sleepy or that I, needed some rest. And so I appreciate that for myself now and like my future self to be able to rest, because I always saw myself as lazy before. And a lot of that was like conditioning. And even though I thought I had worked on it, even though I thought, no, I want to rest, I don't want to, work, I want to relax and chill, even though I had been setting an intention to be that way and I had like made some progress, I noticed there was still this like program running inside of me where it was like, oh, just turn to work. Or, I would always justify it by saying, yeah, but get all this stuff done and then you can relax. I was almost like kind of tricking myself. And now since this happened, I felt like, no, actually I can relax. Like nothing, unless there's a real fire to be put out, actual fire, I can actually rest and hear myself, which is something like I said, too, hunger cues. I could never tell when I was hungry. I would just work and I knew, oh, well, if I stop to eat, that's just going to be annoying right now. So I just wouldn't get hungry till 5, sometimes 6 o'clock at night. And if that's what someone's trying to do intentionally, fast or something, that's fine. But for me, it was more just about ignoring my body. But I am not doing that anymore. So I'm sure the future version of me a month from now even will be grateful that I learned how to rest, because
Yes.
I did not know how to rest before.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it is
That's
beautiful.
just
It's a
giving
relief.
me like, yes, it's just giving me like good beautiful sense, like just chills in my body in a good way. But like, wow, that's amazing.
Good, good, good. Yeah, there's hope. If somebody has, ADHD or something, there's hope and like I said, it's been a couple days only, but
Mm.
this is sort of a good time for me to test how
Yes.
well this stuff is working, because normally when I'm PMSing, it can be dark. It can get really dark, be really frustrating, and I can just feel like the world is closing in on me. And I just haven't had that feeling, not even a little bit, since Sunday.
Wow, and just recognizing that, we realize that it's not just a symptom from, a problem because we are broken or anything. It's just our
Mhm.
minds,
Mhm.
and our bodies, as in the mind and our past and our memories create these patterns and these hormones in us that are, throwing us off. And as we take charge of it, as we release them, let them go and turn that into something good for us, then we can be in a calm place. We can be relaxed. We can allow our bodies to relax, allow ourselves to feel tired. And, when it needs to, when our body needs it, allow us to feel hungry and,
Mhm.
go with life in a better place, in a
Yep.
better state. So,
Much
yeah.
better state, a much better state.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So I would always read about other girls with PMDD on Reddit, and it can be there's like a high correlation between like neurodivergence and premenstrual, I think, dysphoric disorder or dysphoria. And they always, something I noticed that they would always mention is that it would bring up trauma. And I was so surprised to see girls talking about, when we're just talking about medical things, or like side effects of like sort of like what we thought of as a medical condition, they would always bring it around to trauma. And so I think this can make a big difference because a lot of, like, well, I say girls, but anybody who's like menstruating or dealing with these cycles, it can be helpful to know, oh, there is something out there, because a lot of us were like at a loss. You try vitamin D, you try therapy. Some people would try medication, but then during this time of the month, medication wouldn't work. You somehow become more resistant to it. So there's so many people that struggled, and a lot of people who've committed suicide. A lot of it can be attributed to this, and they just maybe weren't diagnosed, or even when they are diagnosed, there's nothing to help. So I feel so relieved, and I'm really excited to see what happens next month, because that's my true test of like how well I'm doing. Like you can cruise through the first couple weeks of your cycle and you're like, oh, the world is good, everything's good, I feel great. But it's those like dark weeks. I mean, for me, it was literally half my month was like taken up by either headaches or just total, I mean, I don't want to say like irrational thoughts and fears and stuff, but yeah, like just, really being consumed. Any little thing, it was like I was giving my life away for half the month. And so now that I'm like at the very end of my cycle, this is when it would normally be coming to a head. It would get really bad. And I just haven't had any, other than feeling sleepy, which I think is like a good thing because I can notice it. I just haven't had any other, I just haven't had any negative thoughts or anything else. So hopefully this will give hope to a lot of girls or a lot of, people who are struggling with hormonal issues and feeling like nothing else works.
Yes. And as you said that you read that, whenever they're talking about it, trauma comes up
Yeah.
because then that's a sign in itself that the original trauma was, is what's
Yep.
keeping them in this place.
Yep.
And then during the PMS, all the hormones are activated and they're just bringing up the stuff. And as we release those, as we did with you, we release those traumas and stuff. There's no reason for the body to continue doing it
Yep.
because, we want to heal. Our bodies know how to heal if we allow them to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is such a great process to do it so quickly too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I would just, I mean, and therapy is great, finding a mental health professional is great. But for me, if I was just sitting in therapy, it wasn't going to help me get through all this stuff, and you can do, um, yeah, it's just a great combination. And working with you, also knowing that you have such a strong understanding, like foundation of, I mean, basically like root cause analysis on us, right? Like that's such a strength you have, makes you the perfect person to like work with on this type of thing. And yeah, I hope it becomes really popular. I hope it's something that a lot of people will try out and see, because the commitment is, what, like a couple hours of your life, and then you do some homework and see, like don't have anything to lose.
There's nothing to lose.
I
Yeah,
hope it'll
because
make a
therapy,
difference.
you just sit there and you can just talk and talk about it
Yeah,
for years and
yeah,
years, but they're not changing anything. They're
exactly,
not, yeah. So it's about
exactly.
changing our past and creating a better mind shift and a better way of living.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. Thank you.
No, thank you.